And then after you guys completed that, I think that's when we had the one shot. Because what had happened was some of the players were just outright unavailable. And so I'm like, okay, I still want to run a game, a D&D game. And then our mutual friend came to me and said, here, why don't you do like a Scooby-Doo haunted house something? I have an idea for you. Scooby-Doo haunted house, but D&D. I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm just going to take that idea and run with it. And so I took the animated armor and made that the bulk of my mobs because they were in a mansion in Waterdeep. And so I had them go just back in time to a hypothetical quest that happened prior to them joining up with the others in the party. So that way we still had like some continuity with everything, but we could still do whatever the heck else. And I could still reward them.
That was a really, really fun one-shot. And actually, some of the role play that we had in that one-shot, specifically between my character Diggory and our other friend who played Morthos, the tiefling, pretty much defined his attitude towards my character for the
and
rest
most of his
campaign.
attitude towards the party was solidified as well.
So this mansion was booby-trapped. Pretty much right when we go through the door, there was like a flying sword that cut a chandelier over our heads. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, we all made really good dex saves. I don't think Diggory took any damage, but I'm pretty sure the other guys that were with me, which I believe was just Nuff. So I'm pretty sure it was Nuff the dwarf, it was Morthos, tiefling sorcerer, and it was Diggory. Yep, a flying sword came up, swatted that, and then we were pretty much on edge, and the flying sword ran away, and I believe we chased after the flying sword, because it just kept whipping around different corridors in the mansion.
Yep. And then that's when you guys encountered the first set of living armor was in the first bigger hallway downstairs, because it had tried to disappear downstairs first. And so you guys started like pulling them around using Thorn Whip, and you pretty much handled that encounter perfectly, and you guys had actually developed some reasonable tactics for dealing with just 2 live suits of armor. So that was good. The first encounter set went well.
Yeah, I remember, I believe Nuff ran up a staircase to a balcony, and an animated armor chased him, and he used Thunder Wave to bamf him out the front door of the mansion, or out a window or something. After that, when we went continuing looking for the sword that was trying to kill us, as we thought, we ran into a hallway of, I believe it was 3 or 4 animated armor. At that point, Diggory started to feel pretty overwhelmed. He had 3.
And so I remember specifically for the encounter when after you guys rolled initiative, basically, Morthos took his turn, did damage, and then went into one of the rooms to look around, closed the door behind himself.
Yep. At that point, 3 of the armors came around me. I believe 2 crit, but they rolled really low on their damage. So I had 1 HP left. Actually, no, it was Nuff that ran into one of the rooms and looked around. It was Nuff that looked around. Because then, when Diggory only had 1 HP, he disengaged and also went into a room. I decided to lock the door behind me. And I just went and laid down in one of the beds, because the room I was in was a bedroom. And so poor Morthos is out in the hallway with 4 animated armors, one being pretty bloodied because we had all kind of done damage on our way out.
Yeah, and at that point, he's like, okay, I too should run away. Because doesn't he also end up going in a room and locking himself out?
No, he said that we were cowards and he was going to stay out there and fight, but he kept rolling nat once.
Oh, yeah, and you guys almost let him die, basically.
Yeah, well, what Diggory would do was Diggory would unlock the door, open the door, take a pot shot out, do some damage, and then close it and lock it again. Diggory just kept doing that on his 1 HP while Nuff kept going around and looking in cupboards and doing other things, just ignoring all the screaming that Morthos was making for help out in the hallway. For some reason,
Yeah.
But for some reason, at the end of that encounter, because Morthos was so motivated by greed, he respected Nuff's decision not to even help in the fight compared to Diggory's just cowardice of opening a door and using cover. So there was always pretty much bad blood between Diggory and Morthos just because of that one decision. Anytime Diggory had an idea, Morthos was just, nope, we're not doing that. Which was good, because our party had at that point been starting to get along a little too well, I think.
Yeah, ish. I mean, I did set you up with, oh, you know you, and you know you, and here's your backstory, and you all get along fairly well. So that way, at least you have quick entry into your adventuring together, and you don't have to like go through and establish relationships, etc. You can just do a quick session 0 to get everyone on the same page, so you're all agreeing to go together as a party, and you don't have to verbally sort that out in characters. But after that encounter was cleared, sword came out. No, you guys went downstairs, and then the sword came out, and it was trying to motion to you to not go into the house, not go into the basement, because that's where the big bad evil guy was, which was whatever the next animated armor is up. And it turned out that this house had been luring people in to turn their souls into animated weapons and armor for nefarious means. And this sword was one of those that was turned into a sword instead of just being outright killed. It got trapped in the sword.
Yeah. So I think we didn't right away, because the sword was trying to ward us off. We didn't go into the basement right away. We actually went into the main study of the mansion after figuring out a puzzle where we had to go into certain rooms and open a cupboard and push certain buttons or a switch. I can't remember exactly what it was. But then we went into like the main wizard's chamber who owned the mansion. And I believe we got some scrolls. Like I think Diggory got a scroll for like a 7th level spell. We had like agreed like out of game afterwards that I wouldn't ever use that until like later on in the game, and I don't think I ever did. And you said I'd have to get to like a certain level before I could use it, and I don't think we ever reached that level in the campaign.
Gotcha. And Morthos got that was a spell +1 focus, cast a cantrip, +1 to hit. So useful for a sorcerer.
And I think Nuff got a like a dwarven battle music book. Pretty sure that's what it was, like just dwarven metal, basically. I feel like it was some kind of music book, or he got a tome that was like lore dwarven music or something to that effect. I think like the in-game bonus was it let his. I think the only in-game bonus was that it like let his bardic inspiration be like slightly better or something.
I don't recall offhand. But then when you guys did finally go down to the basement and the sword actually tried to interfere with the big bad evil and save you guys, and it ended up being an important story moment, and Sordy sacrificed himself for you, because that's what you guys ended up naming him, was Sordy.
Sworded sword.
He's great. Yep. And so he ended up becoming, instead of a sword, a little dagger, because it had been broken, and because it's a magic sword, you could reasonably make it long again. And so I made him a magic item that was essentially luck once per day. After we gave that to your dad, he would frequently say, "Sordy says no," and then make people re-roll whatever attack it was. It ended up saving him from crits and turning them into misses at least twice.
Yeah, I remember there was one time, I think it was during a fight with Frostvane at the end of the campaign, where there was a critical moment where somebody would have gone down, but he used Sordy to change the fate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and I think that was another crit negated as well.
Dragon crits are no fun.
Yeah. Yeah, dragon crits are fun, just not for
Yeah.
you.
That was a fun campaign. We'll have to, I guess, to the party's fight with the actual dragon of Frostvein another time, because at that point we'd gone on a couple quests. Johnny had given us a list of our like most wanted magic items. Yes, he removed the deck of many things from it because he didn't want to do that to us. But by the time it came to us to fight the dragon, Jim had boots of flying. I think
Yep.
Morthos had a circlet of blasting. Just like we had
Yep.
or someone else had like a wand of fireballs or something. Like we were just like hitted to the max. And it was quite the. Oh, and we also had a portable hole. That's what it was. We had a portable hole that ended up kind of winning us the day in a very unexpected way.